Om Swastiastu. Hello everyone, welcome back with me, Chyntia Wulandari. Now I will continue to read this book. Creating New Habits. Life is a series of habits, things that we do day in and day out, often without thinking much about it. We get up, brush our teeth, take a shower, go to school or go to the office, scroll through our emails and social media feed, long on the sofa in front of the TV, hang out with friends, play with the children and the pets, and then go to bed. The next day, we do more or less the same things all over again. That is why, every once in a while, we go on holiday to get away from our routines, to see and do different things, and create new memories for our unstimulated brains. It's like you are pressing a pause button on the video you are watching, especially if the video is playing on a loop, and take a break before you fall asleep from boredom. Stuck at home with nowhere to go, however, such as during a pandemic and when the city is on a lockdown, and thus making the idea of going off on holiday an impossibility. It is easy to end up not only feeling bored, but you might even start developing bad habits. You get up, of course, except later and later during the day. You scroll through your social media feeds, but this time longer and longer. You lie on the sofa as usual, but this time you find it harder and harder to get out of it. Instead, you sink deeper and deeper into the cushion. At the same time, the so-called good habits you normally have during your time alone fall by the wayside. Maybe you skip your daily shower, brush your teeth only once a day, that is if you remember to do so. And at some point, you cease to change our clothes at all, preferring to walk around the house in your old t-shirt and shorts that you wear to bed. In other words, not only you can be bothered to do much, but you also end up accumulating bad habits that will be hard to shake off later. It's okay if you find yourself quite happy in this situation and even find some satisfaction in it. After all, there is nothing more pleasant than being able to rest and relax, especially when you need it as a break from your constant busyness. But if you feel that longing aimlessly after a while doesn't energize you, on the contrary, makes you listless and unhappy with yourself, deep down or not so deep down, you know that you shouldn't really be doing what you are doing. That is, doing nothing much of value to your mind, body, and spirit. In this case, you can very well use this time of solitude not only to press the pause button of your system, but also to reset or reboot yourself so that you can function even better than before. This you can do by, for example, creating for yourself an entirely new routine that gives you day a new outlook. After all, a change is as good as a rest, as they say. So instead of getting up and doing whatever your lazy self inclines to do, perhaps you can get up earlier than usual so you can open the window and catch the early morning sunlight. You can spend a few minutes with your face turned towards the light and feel its warmth caressing your skin, waking you up to a brand new day in the nicest possible way. Afterwards, still enjoying the fresh morning air, you can stretch and move your arms and legs, getting rid of the night stiffness from your joints, and take a deep breath, filling your lungs with fresh air, and then you spend the next half hours or so doing little exercises. running and jumping on the spot, making windmills with your arms and other movements that make you break a sweat and the heartbeat a lot faster. And forget it, after the morning exercise, you then jump into the shower and enjoy the feel of the water running down from your head down to your entire body, washing away not only the sweat and the dirt, but also your ache and pains, and the last traces of your bad dreams, so that you step out as if a new person. Thus, you are ready to greet a new day, the first day of the rest of your life, which is basically what every day new is. And in the positive mood and full of energy, you imagine what sort of day you would like to have that day and the things that you would like to accomplish. You focus on the most pressing things that you need to do and ones that you would take the least time. Perhaps you have some bills to pay. Instead of putting them off until later of thinking about how unpleasant it is to deal with those bills, you sit down, open your computer and make the necessary transfers. There, that's done, and much sooner than it will take thinking about it. Next, maybe there are some emails that need answering. Rather than letting them accumulate in your inbox, you respond to those that require the quickest answer first before those that need a longer time to reply. After less than an hour, you find that you have accomplished more than you thought you would. So you switch off your computer and allow yourself a moment to reflection before you move on to other things that you would like to see done that day. By lunchtime, you discover that you have done most of the items on your to-do list, and yet you are still full of energy. And it turns out there are so many things that you can do, because when you really make use of your time well, you find that each minute and each hour can be filled with useful and productive activities. Not only that, with all the energy you have left and the time that remains at your disposal, you are free to do and create new things that bring spark and joy to your day on a daily basis. Things such as starting a new book, reading poetry, writing your thoughts in a journal, or even calling an old friend or a member of family whom you have not spoken to in a while and asking after them. You might even indulge yourself in going through your Twitter or Facebook and watching funny videos forward in your chat groups. But you never get carried away. You don't let time run away from you or slip through your fingers unaware. Instead, before mindlessness sets in, you put your gadget down and you turn your attention to other things that you have set out to accomplish, even if it's simply cleaning out your desk and arranging your bookshelf. And if you do this every day, you can be sure that your day will never be wasted. Instead, each day is an opportunity for you to reset your system, a system that is based on a series of good habits. Declutter your life, declutter your mind. Alone in your house or in your room, take a look around you. What do you see? A neat, well-ordered surrounding where everything is in its place and everything has a purpose, on or an area where things jostly against one another, lie on top of each other, and fee with each other for space that is diminishing in size. And how do you feel about this space you are in? Does it make you feel comfortable at home? Does it make you feel centered and inspired? A place where you feel that a lot of creativity can be brought to light, or a contrary, does your surrounding make you feel that there's a lot of unfinished business to attend to, pending matters that pile up and demand your attention. Perhaps it even makes you feel stuck and you don't know where to begin your day or organize your time. If the latter is how you feel, then this is a good time to start tidying up your space, the personal area where you spend most of your time. But where to start? Not such an easy task, especially if you have neglected your surroundings all this time, like an untended garden that has given itself over to the weeds. I would advise you to start with the area closest to your reach, the bits of paper peeled up in the corner of your desk that you haven't thrown away because you thought them so important, and yet here you are, a few years later, they are still around, and still you haven't even looked through them. Now you go over them. Most of them you no longer remember what they were what they were for. So finally you make the decision to tear them apart or put them for recycling. Once you have done that, you move on to other objects, to other bits of pieces whose origin and purpose have long been lost in the labyrinth of time. You give those neglected things a purpose and a proper place to occupy. Some you throw away, others you mark, label, and put in order. Now they are no longer clutter, but things with a clear function. Suddenly your desk looks more spacious, tidier, and cleaner. And suddenly your mind clears up a bit, as if it too is undergoing a process of decluttering. And you are inspired to continue. Now you open the drawers beneath the desk, drawers that you no longer use because you can hardly open them, so full of them are of stuff. Stuff indeed, because the things inside were stuffed in haphazardly with hardly any thought. You go through the content one by one, somewhat both amazed and amused at the mindlessness that must have accompanied the action that prompted you to collect the stuff to begin with. Empty packaging whose contents you could not even remember, cables and part of gadgets that had long gone obsolete, old bills and receipts whose ink have faded and you have no idea what they were for.